So there's no Ben Simmons, and that certainly puts a drag on this series. That being said, as a Celtics fan, I'm still scared of Philly. I'm going to be honest with you. Still terrified because of one guy, Joel Embiid. If I look at the head-to-head matchup between, of all people, Joel Embiid and Daniel Tice, because, I mean, he's the starting center, so... Embiid actually hasn't destroyed him, weirdly enough. One game, Embiid had like 38 and 13. I'm talking about this season only, by the way. But, you know, opening night, Embiid had like 15, didn't shoot well from the field. The last time the Celtics played the Sixers, which was in February, Embiid was 1 for 11 from the field. He took 4 threes. So take that for whatever you will. I think it's going to take a team effort to defend Embiid, but it would be helpful if Tice is not going to get killed the second that Embiid starts backing him down, you know? Now, besides that, I imagine that the Celtics are going to have to bring help sometimes, or a lot, on Embiid. I mean, back when they had Horford, they didn't want to bring help that much because Horford could actually handle defending Embiid one-on-one down there. Don't know if Tice is going to be able to do that. Don't know if Robert Williams, Enes Kanter, any small ball center they might want to throw out there. I don't know if any of them are going to be able to handle that. So then you dare Embiid to be a passer out of the low post. There's reason to believe that you can overwhelm him like that. He's no Marc Gasol when it comes to surveying the floor with his back turned and all that stuff. Now, he's not bad, but he's not great. And if you get creative and you bring help, whether it's from the guy in the opposite corner or the opposite wing or whatever, I think you can definitely force Embiid into some turnovers. You can force him into having to pass it out to somebody, and like 7 or 8 seconds have gone off the shot clock, and the possession is effectively ruined for Philly. We're just going to have to see if Embiid can really kill the Celtics when they do that. I mean, between Jalen, Tatum, Hayward, Marcus Smart, a lot of good, athletic, smart defenders who can, I think, really bother Embiid when he's trying to operate in the low post. And of course, should be remembered, is Brad Stevens' defensive system, and Brad has done some great things defensively, whether it's managed to hide Isaiah Thomas, be a good defensive team with Jared Sullinger is his starting power forward. Like, Brad knows what he's doing when it comes to coaching defense, so I think he's definitely going to have a game plan for bothering Embiid. They're also going to dare Embiid to shoot jumpers whenever they've got an opportunity. I mean, if he's standing from 15 feet out, they're going to sag off of him. Granted, of course, that could give him a bit of a runway, and he's better than your average big when it comes to ball handling. But even so, it's always going to be better than giving him that 7-foot hook shot or whatever, you know? In terms of some creative things the Sixers could try, I mean, for one, they can run more conventional pick and rolls now. You couldn't really run it with Ben and Joel because, well, we know why. So, with Shake and Tobias and Richardson, could be some potential there. I don't want to suggest that they're better without Ben Simmons. They're not, but I'm just saying, like, Shake might be able to hit a 15-foot jumper if you go under the screen on him. Same thing with Tobias, same thing with Josh. Now, I would assume that the math suggests that if you're able to force Philly into a bunch of mid-range jumpers from okay guys, then you're going to win, because those are more possessions that are not Joel Embiid posting up, or they're not wide-open threes. So I imagine that they will still dare these guys to hit their 15-footers and whatever, and I mean, let's just see. Let's see if Shake Milton can kill you on 13-footers all day. I don't know. This is also me suggesting that the Celtics are not going to be switching a super lot. I mean, if there's like a handoff play between Richardson and Tobias, then they're going to switch. But if Embiid is involved at all, you're going to do drop coverage. You're going to do something like that. You know what I mean? You're going to try to fight over screens. They've got the personnel to do it between Jalen, definitely Marcus Smart, Tatum, Hayward, all that. So for what that's all worth. But even so, I do think there's some potential for Embiid to get some real rolling opportunities here, which he doesn't get to do as much as you'd really like to see him do. And I think that's going to, at times, be trouble for the Celtics. I mean, you're going to have to bring extra defenders. I mean, somebody's going to be wide open in the corner for 3. And that's the formula for Philly winning this series. It's open threes, and it's Embiid with not too much resistance around the block. Now, I think one thing that needs to be pointed out is Embiid's minutes. So, against the Raptors, in the 7-game series, Embiid played 34 minutes a game, which is, of course, really low. If Embiid plays 34 minutes a game in this series against the Celtics, I don't think there's a way Philly can win. I mean, you're talking 14 minutes without that guy on the floor. I would have to assume the Celtics would win all those minutes. And we saw that was the difference in the Raptors series, and it could happen again. Is there potential for anything else on Philly's side on offense? I mean, could Tobias beat... Who's going to defend Tobias? Is it going to be Tatum? Whoever it is, I don't know. Could Tobias beat his guy off the dribble occasionally? Maybe, but I'm not betting on it. I mean, the Celtics, they've got a squad of good on-ball defenders here, including one great one in Marcus Smart. We'll eventually get to the leave Marcus Smart wide open portion of this prediction video, but this matters. Like, are they going to be able to generate offense outside of Embiid? And, Tobias has got to be the guy. He's got to be the one. He's got to beat guys off the dribble. He's got to be hitting pull-up jumpers. I think he's got to shoot more free throws. And I just don't know if he's good enough. I mean, he was in my players I don't trust in the playoffs video, and that was when I thought Ben Simmons was going to play. So there's that for you. I think Philly's just got to make this series ugly, I think they've got to play slow. I mean, not too slow. If you got a fast break opportunity, go for it. But I just feel like they got to make this series really ugly, and they can maybe win that series. If this is more of a fast-paced type of a thing, lots of fast breaks, I think the Celtics have pretty much got this in the bag. But if Philly can make this ugly enough and foul a lot and control the boards, and this is going to require Horford having to step up more, and maybe he can do it, maybe he can't, then I think Philly's got a shot. Anyway, if we talk about how the Celtics are going to try to score in this series, so Embiid's going to be standing in front of the basket the whole damn way. He's not going to defend Daniel Theis at all. I don't think Daniel Theis's three-point shooting is going to be the make-it-or-break-it point of the series, but it could be a little subplot. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Theis went 3 for 6 from outside in 1 or 2 games in this thing, but it doesn't matter. Philly's not going to defend him. They've got enough to worry about already. So I think the key for the Celtics, I am going to be mentioning Daniel Theis again a little bit here. I think the key for the Celtics is to get Embiid moving on defense. If he is allowed to just chill in front of the basket, do his normal drop coverage on pick and rolls, and just dare you to take floaters and mid-rangers all day, then I think the Celtics could have some problems. Now, I think they can make some of those shots, but can they make enough? I don't know, man. Eventually the math is just not in your favor, unless you're hitting an insane amount. So how do you do that? Well, I think you can run some handoff plays with Theis. I know I just mentioned they're not going to defend him on the three-point line like that. But if Theis is involved in enough action to where it's Tatum coming off of the handoff play, then Embiid has got to be actually active in that scenario, and he could still go for the drop coverage, of course, but I think if you just get him moving a little bit laterally and then you attack in a straight line, that could be the difference. I mean, he's still... Well, it depends. I mean, some days Embiid looks like the next Dwight Howard defensively. Other days he looks like he's only a couple seconds faster than Enes Kanter. So if Embiid's really going to bring it defensively and the paint is basically a no-fly zone, no matter what you do, whether it's pick and rolls, pick and pops, handoff plays, forcing him into switches, then Philly could win the series. I mean, again, this is why I'm scared of Embiid. This is going to require Jason Tatum to put his head down and keep going to the rim. Because, at the beginning of the season, Tatum was a little apprehensive towards drawing contact. And of course, we know about the mid-range nightmares that he suffered from for like 2 years, mainly in his second season. You can't do that. Okay, you just gotta go. I know Embiid's like 7 foot, 270 pounds or whatever, and it's gonna hurt a few times, but you gotta do it, man. Like, we need the free throws. Similar things can be said for Kemba Walker, although I feel like if Kemba drove on Embiid enough times, he just might not make it through the series. And same things to be said with Jalen and Hayward and all these guys. You got to be aggressive. You got to draw some fouls out of Embiid. Yeah, you're going to get blocked a couple times, but you got to do it, man. Because if you're getting put into the mid-range trap, then this could be tough. Now let's talk about Marcus Smart a little bit. I would not be shocked if Philly had Embiid on Marcus Smart. In other words, he's not on Marcus Smart. Now, the Celtics would counter that with running Marcus Smart through action, probably for a good shooter. So it's not like there's not a counter to that, but we've seen them get creative at times with who they put Embiid on. Like, they had Embiid on Siakam in the Raptors series, and they had some success there. The other thing to talk about is Thibault and how many minutes he's going to get here, because if Thibault is able to really be a difference maker defensively, then him and Embiid together could be kind of devastating. Like, if you've got Thibault hounding you and kind of funneling you into Embiid, and then you got Embiid to deal with, that could be tough to deal with. Horford defensively, I think, is going to have to be really good. You know, he's going to have to be able to hang around on the perimeter and switch across positions and be able to defend guys one-on-one. Can he do it? Maybe. I don't know. Is Horford going to be playing that many backup center minutes? I would imagine so, because they're going to try to not get killed in those non-Embiid minutes. And in those specific scenarios, you could run some pick and pops with Horford. He's probably going to do a little better defensively there too, because he's not forced to switch, but more so just defend pick and rolls and that type of thing. I think it's also going to be interesting to see, like, at what point does Philly pull Horford if it's not going well, and they put like Korkmaz in there for truly 4 outs around Embiid. Because with Horford, it's still going to be like a little awkward. Like, he's not going to stand in the corner all day. He's going to he's going to stand like at 15 feet. He's going to try to post up occasionally with Embiid near him. Like, it's just going to be a little weird. So when does Philly go, you know what, screw it. Just Korkmaz out there, another shooter. And that's a lot of space. I mean, the Celtics defense is good, but if you're trying to hound Embiid and there's 4 guys at the perimeter, it definitely makes it a little tougher. Now, I still think the Celtics defense is good enough to deal with that, but, I mean, any defense would have a tough time with that sort of thing. And I know I'm talking about the Celtics defense, but to take it back to Philly's, Philly's got to play great defense in the series, and I know I'm mainly talking about Embiid, but it's really got to be everybody. I mean, if Thibault can be a force, if Richardson can keep his guy in front of him a lot, if Tobias can be as good as you'd expect him to be, if Horford can turn the clock back like 2 years on defense, I would say, and then you got Embiid on his best day consistently throughout the series, then Philly, they could have a chance. Now, I'm not going to pick them. I am going to pick the Celtics to win this. If they had Ben Simmons, I might actually have picked Philly, not going to lie to you. I don't know. I mean, Philly, they've looked so awkward all year. It's tough to just predict that they're going to figure it out enough, you know? So I'm going to take the Celtics. I think Philly is not going to look great on offense. I think the other guys around Embiid are not talented enough to make the Celtics pay for going under screens, daring them to make some open shots. I don't think anybody besides Embiid can beat their defender one-on-one consistently. And I think the Celtics defense is going to be good enough to slow down Embiid sometimes. It's not going to be every time. And as far as the Celtics scoring is concerned, I mean, I think at times Embiid is going to make it look really difficult to score. I think I've just got to accept that Philly, they're not as great of a defensive team as they're supposed to be. I mean, they were 8th in defensive rating this year. Embiid did not bring it every game. And now Ben Simmons, who I've got for first team all defense, is not playing. So while I can still picture Philly being tough to score on, I've got to accept that they're probably not that team. I mean, if they were, the evidence would be there, and it just simply isn't. Now, if you want to attribute that just to the home road thing and the fact that they're not on the road anymore for the series, there's that. Although they're not at home either, so I don't know what that means. It'll be interesting to see just if the environment makes things weird in any way. But yeah, that'll do it. I'm going to go with the Celtics, but I am still scared. I'm still scared of Embiid.